Chatter. I don't know how much longer I'm going to say that because this test match is moving so fast. Unlike the traffic in Bangalore or Mumbai, this is on an expressway. 29 wickets have fallen in the first 2 days. So to talk about that, I've got DK with me. This is where the game is at the moment. New Zealand lead by 143. It was a topsy-turvy second day with India starting off well. Gill and Rishabh Pant. Then New Zealand storming back. Then that half century by Will Young. So it was a topsy-turvy kind of day. Get DK to talk about that a little bit in one of his new t-shirts. Do you ever repeat a t-shirt?
What a great way to start this program. Chatter viewers will be very happy. Straight away shots fired. Now, all Harsha fans, you'll be ready. I'll come back with something, but soon enough. Yes, Harsha, continue. What's the question?
29 wickets fell today. You've been doing the pitch report every day. Did it come as a surprise to you that so many wickets fell? Or was it an even bigger surprise given the way the series has gone that India is actually with a shouting chance of winning it?
Shots fired at the Indian team. But anyway, but this pitch, Harsha, honestly, when I saw it today, I was like, oh, wow. Yesterday, there was moisture, so it felt very different. Today, when I went and saw that moisture obviously wasn't there because they played a game on it, they've covered it up, they put the durry and everything else. What's the word, Harsha? What durry in English?
Hessian. It's Hessian. A word I didn't even know how to spell it. I've only heard it said. I didn't know how to spell it.
So yeah, the Hessian. These are things I learned on Chatter. But anyway, the Hessian was there. So obviously it was not as damp as it was yesterday, but it was so dry underneath. Straight away, you knew the ball was going to spin, and that's exactly what happened. But what is alarming is 15 wickets, Harsha. I mean, you have been covering Test cricket for about 50, 60, I don't know, about 66 years or whatever. But you know, if the pitch is turning, Harsha, 10, 12, 15 wickets. Yesterday, 14 wickets. I'm like, wow. Things have changed, Harsha, in life.
By the way, my name is Harsha, not Abhimanyu. My war doesn't begin in my mother's stomach. So I couldn't have been covering it for so many years. But, I mean, you watched cricket for a while. You played over there. It was good to see. What were those two friends of yours? Chandran, Indran, Chandran. What is it?
They're back, aren't they? You can't keep them away from too long.
Ashwin, Jadeja, I actually, well as Washington bowled right through this series, there was a part of me actually hoping that Ashwin came good. Though I knew inside me that if India had to have any chance of winning this game, then Jadeja had to take 4 or 5 wickets. And it seems he might do that once he changed ends and came back to the end that he's from. But 3 for 63, Ashwin, Jadeja 4 for 52. And by the way, you say shots fired. There was a shot fired at you by Ashwin in your post-match interview too. He said, for all the flack you've given me, but it was a great catch. So what do you think was different? Was it that the pitch came in friendly? Was it that he unleashed the Dusra? What happened? Not the Dusra, the carom ball.
We'll speak about Chandran. And I saw a distinct body language. If you followed Ashwin closely, he is not, say, the Virat Kohli type of personality who's in your face, aggressive, comes hard at you and all of that. But there is a certain body language associated with Ashwin when you know he really wants to do well. The way he celebrates when he picks up a wicket or the intensity with which he feels, how keyed on he is in the game. And today, I felt it for the first time this season. I think he was pushed to a place where he wanted to show, no. Now it's enough. I think I need to get on it. And he's obviously, his skill sets. And it showed in his bowling. I don't think he's bowled anywhere close to his best even today. But it was great to see his ego being hurt as a bowler and him showing when that happens, how he deals with it.
I thought, when the story of this game is told, a little role for Akashdeep for starting it off. And I remember it might have been your test debut on this ground. Was it your debut 2004? When Murli Karthik, the spinners, Harbhajan, all the spinners were doing so well. It was Zahir Khan who gave a little breakthrough to start it off. I thought Akashdeep's role in that, minor role, but he started it off in both innings. By the way, you look down that list, there was one other bowler playing. And, all we saw of that bowler was right in front of us. He was going from long on to third man, fine leg, mid-off. He didn't even go to the other side of the ground except walk in and off the ground. You feel for Mohammad Siraj, but when he goes to Australia, there will be a lot more for him to do and a lot less for the spinners to do. So that much about the bowling. I thought the bowling brought India back into this game. How much we will talk about as we go along. But topsy-turvy day. It was so important after that 15-minute madness last evening that India started off well. And I tell you, Rishabh Pant, every time I look at Rishabh Pant, he just surprises me. 60 of 59 balls on that track, took out Ajaz Patel from the attack so quickly. And when the two are batting, remember, they were even thinking of a lead of 100, 150, 120 maybe. 60 of 59 balls was an extraordinary effort from Rishabh Pant.
He's special, Harsha. There are players who come and play it a certain way. What is so nice about him, man? So good to watch is how he takes on his matchups. And left arm spinner is his matchup. Let's make it very obvious. In fact, you can say to an extent, spin bowling itself is his matchup because he has a very nice way of attacking them. And you can see as to why we have always said this is his favorite format. When they start with the fielders inside and then they start pushing it back, our man is unstoppable because he knows how to use his feet. He plays the slog sweep to get effect. And also we know he can play the reverse sweep. So shots are there, but he's so comfortable in his own skin to take risks in Test cricket, which a lot of people obviously delay it as much as possible. And the biggest difference in Test cricket is when the field is at that 3/4, it's like you're playing into his ego saying, okay, show me if you can hit that ball. And he says, okay, here I am. Bang, it goes. And he is someone who can change the game on its head. And it was him who actually put India in such a strong position. And that's what actually has fascinated me about this test match. You come to certain test matches and there are pitches which turn a lot and bounces. And even when the partnership is happening, you constantly feel like, oh, if one wicket falls, things could change. When Daryl Mitchell and Will Young were batting, you wouldn't get that feeling. When Gill and Pant were batting, you didn't feel like, oh, if one wicket falls, things will just collapse like that. But for some strange reason, both teams have gone through that this test match, and hence the batter should be given a lot of credit either for making it look too easy when the partnership is there, or the bowlers to give. We have to give the bowlers a lot of credit because the moment they see blood, they just make sure they get to the end of it.
You know, there's a couple of things about Rishabh Pant that I wanted to talk to you about. Rishabh Pant in front of the stumps, and Rishabh Pant behind the stumps, and Rishabh Pant between the stumps. Now, Rishabh Pant in front of the stumps, between him and the crease, absolutely top drawer. We got the feeling yesterday, and even at times today, when he was running between the wickets, that he was holding back just a little bit, that he wasn't the same person running between the wickets. He's now back to being the same person and more as a batter. Running between the wickets, slight issue. Behind the wickets, this was a nightmare. It's a nightmare game to be on. In fact, I think we might have a question on that as well, because I had some questions, and I think we might have a question on that as well. Shreyasi Talukdar says, DK, heard you on com saying Pant not 100% while running between the wickets. Is it the same for his keeping against spin as well?
I don't think it affects his keeping too much, but definitely that injury has taken a toll on his running between the wickets. He's still not up to the same speed that he used to run. We don't know if that can ever be achieved because that was it was a life-threatening injury. So it's not something that many have faced. Only he would know how much he's gone through. We've all seen it from a distance, but to be in his body and go through what he's done, the fact that he's out there and playing for India itself is a joy. But that running between the wickets, I'm assuming, will take a lot more time for the knee to get back to where it was before that accident. And with regards to keeping, I think it's been a very tough series for him. He is a very good white ball keeper, Harsha, because of the way he collects his hands and all of that put together. In red ball, as the test match progresses and there is variable bounce, that's when his keeping comes under a lot more scrutiny and pressure as well. Could it be the fact that his knee is one of the reasons, or probably his body is one of the reasons why he's not able to? I would think no. I think it's more his keeping technique. But definitely, he is a much better white ball keeper than he is a red ball keeper. As the test match progresses, you can see with the ball keeping low, he's not able to go down as quickly as he wants to, even though, he's left well by, he's not his best day, but still he got a nice stumping that bounced a little more than you would have expected. And interestingly, he did the stumping this way. You generally do keepers go on side and then take it, but he did it this very unorthodox in his methods, which is fine. But you can see as the game progresses, the challenges increase for a keeper like him.
I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack. 12 buys. I'm going to actually count it as 8 because one ball from Ravindra Jadeja, it pitched and took off and almost went into the top left corner of the net if it was football. It literally just took off and poor Rishabh Pant was flapping at it. I mean, There was no way the batsman had him covered, so he wouldn't know. So I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack. But yes, Rishabh Pant in front of the stumps versus Rishabh Pant behind the stumps on this surface is a no-brainer. Uh, you talked about when Young and Mitchell were batting, and again when Gill and Pant were batting. When they were batting, yes, the ball was turning, but it seemed like they'd got the measure of the surface. And that is the story of this test match, that you have to keep building partnerships all along. I thought Shubman Gill benefited enormously from having Rishabh Pant there. And New Zealand fielders helped. Couple of catches went down. But by Rishabh Pant taking on that approach, it allowed Pant to play, it allowed Gill to play differently.
True. Right at the outset, Pant got going. And I think Gill had time to settle down and then play. But you can see Gill had a plan as well, that when the off spinner came, I want to take him on, and he just misjudged that shot. Luckily for him, Mark Chapman put that catch down. He has made that difference that we spoke about on air, his initial movement, and hence his defense is so much more better with his head over the ball, and all of that is helping him. But credit to him for making a subtle change like that in between a test series. But he really wants test cricket. He wants to do well. He showed his application. After that drop catch, he didn't do anything silly. Just kept rotating strike, hit the odd boundary, and was happy to play second fiddle to Rishabh Pant. At no time was he trying to match him shot to shot. He was like, Rishabh Pant, you're going well, great. You keep doing your thing, I'll keep doing my thing. And that was good to see. It was a partnership that was developing into something very, very fruitful for India before Rishabh Pant got out, and then things changed on its head, as always in this test match. But it was good to see Shubman Gill play spin in such a confident manner on a tough pitch.
Things in there. At one point, I thought India had a chance of winning by an innings in this game. I'll be honest. The thought flirted in my mind. And then once Rishabh got out, it's not a collapse pitch, but this is a pitch where it's difficult to build partnerships. You saw that with India as well. 83 for 6, I think, India, including that wicket of Rishabh Pant. But the interesting one is New Zealand. New Zealand, for example, at one point were 44 for 3. Where they are at the moment, from 44 for 3, they'll say, wow, we'll take this any day, because from 44 for 3, they've come to 171 for 9. But if you look down that scorecard, from 94 for 3, they'll be disappointed that they are 171. Would that be a fair call?
Nah. It's a tough.
You're trying to be polite to me. You can say what you want. Doesn't matter.
You played with numbers in such a way that you've made the same number sound difficult at one situation and nicer in one situation. But the fact is that that's the beauty of partnership. But why this pitch is so hard is because it's very hard to start on us. You have to extremely work on your defense and trust it at the start, but also use your attacking options very wisely. It's not one where you can keep defending and saying, okay, there's not much happening. There is some hardship towards defense. So you have to attack, put the bowler under a little bit of pressure, and then resort to defense. And the good players did that. And the players who did well rather did that. But you spoke about the two partnerships, or rather the scores before and after this partnership. For me, that 31-run partnership, that 20, I think will come back to hurt India a little bit, Harsha. 143 as of now isn't going to be easy. We heard that from Ashwin itself, but I can tell you this pitch is not going to give it away easily to India.
Ajaz Patel, 24% of his wickets have come in 3 innings at the Wankhede Stadium. It's an incredible stat. He hasn't taken a wicket in New Zealand. He comes here to Mumbai. He's got I think 3, 4, 5 or something, all in Asia. What changed after lunch? Because I thought India had the measure of him before lunch. He just came back after lunch. And the one observation to my untrained eye was he was bowling a little slower. But 5 for 103 again. So he's now got 19 wickets at Wankhede. Was it the slight reduction in pace that made it that much more difficult to face after lunch?
First thing, he's got 18 wickets in Wankhede already, which is quite a stellar stat. But the answer to your question would be partly what he said, which is he slowed it down. B, the absence of Rishabh Pant. I think Rishabh Pant really put him off his guard at that stage. Early on, just took him on, didn't allow him to settle down. And literally, Rishabh Pant's innings was a message to Tom Latham saying, now come on, remove him from the attack. I'm just going to hit him otherwise. And that put pressure on Ajaz Patel. When he came back after lunch, he was bowling to two different batters, and you can see the confidence coming through. Straight away after lunch, the one thing that he employed was got slightly straighter and slower, and he made the batsman play. That first over, which was the maiden that he bowled to Gill, was the first maiden in the innings itself to India, which tells you how much more control that short spell brought. And then the wicket started flowing. And on a pitch like this, when it's turning so much, once you get your length and to a large extent your line right, it becomes really hard to deal with unless you have options which are very attacking and consistent.
I think you also saw that his partner at the other end, Glenn Phillips, you could see he's an inexperienced finger spinner at this level, because well as he bowled, there was a little boundary ball coming here and there. And I think when India start to chase that, that'll be important. There was one other factor though today, and we'll come to that in just a moment. By the way, William O'Rourke also played the game. We talked about Siraj. Will O'Rourke is actually playing this game. He bowled 2 overs, and then poor guy was standing in the heat all day. But those figures that you saw will give you an idea of what the options are for India to overcome when they come out, which I suspect will be fairly early tomorrow. But Ashwin batted at number 10. Washington Sundar batted at number 9. And there was a strange person walking out at number 8. And Sarfaraz Khan, it's been quite a story for Sarfaraz, by the way, this series. On a turner, you can get an edge, you can get out for a duck, that can happen. But he started the series batting at 4, got 150, and then strange things have happened to him, which is why that is my cue to put DK on the hot spot. When it hurt a player, he makes 150. You can understand in the next game, he's down at number 6 because your original batter was not there, comes back into the side. He goes back to number 6, I can understand. Next innings, he bats at number 7 because Washington Sundar goes up at number 6. Next innings, he bats at 8 because even if you take out the night watchman, Ravindra Jadeja goes up in front of him. Can that affect someone like him who's obviously young man, eager, going out to bat to make his fortune, his career?
I hope not, Harsha, but it does. Can't say no to that. The one thing as a batter that you want is the comfort of batting in the same position. To an extent, if it is a number above or below, you're able to adjust. But when you go 3 spots below, your whole mindset changes. What am I supposed to do? How am I going to bat? Even one batter, I mean, the non-striker, whoever is with me, if he gets out, then I'm literally with the tail. Even though there was Washington and Ashwin, I'm not degrading them by saying tail. But number 9, number 10, number 11, it just feels very different. Whereas if you bat at 5 and you got into that stage, you know what to do. Straight away walking in at number 8, which I don't think he must have done in a long time in red ball cricket, would have been very, very different, made him feel very different. It is actually number 7. It's because Siraj has gone earlier that, he's been, obviously his number says he's at number 8, but the left-right combination. And the left-right combination as well, Harsha. And it was working till it lasted. I mean, when Rishabh Pant got out, you got the feeling that if a left-right combination could be continued, it will help India. So sending Jadeja wasn't such a bad move, because when Jadeja got out and 2 right-handers came at the crease, that was the only time the wicket fell within the next couple of balls. So it probably wasn't the worst decision. It was something that was forced upon them. But yes, the answer to your question is, in an ideal world, every batsman would like to know where he is due to go consistently in terms of a number or in other formats, a situation, so that they're mentally prepared for that. And that can be hard. But in this case, I will definitely cut a bit of slack for Gambhir, saying the evidence was that if left and right combination were in the ground at the same time as batters, then it was helping the batting team.
You also think that Rohit was getting a little grumpy at some point? I mean, we could pick up a little bit on the stump mic. I just got the impression, he's always someone who's not too far away from a smile. Got the impression sometimes he was getting a little bit grumpy today.
Could be. And I say
in the past, people have been grumpy at him for pushing people down the order. But that story has been told before. We won't. But was he a little grumpy today?
I felt a little bit at times, and that was mainly because of field placement. He wants certain people in certain spots. Like for example, today at the start, Sarfaraz Khan was standing in second slip before even one ball was pulled. KL Rahul had come in as a substitute for Shubman Gill, and as soon as he saw KL Rahul, he's like, "Why are you standing there? I want you at slip." Sarfaraz Khan is wearing shin pads, and also you're the better slip fielder as of now, so go stand there. So I could see like small things like that. He wants the right people in the right places, and he wants those players to take those decisions themselves. Add to the fact that they've lost a series, things are not going as well as he would have wanted. All that plays a part, and yeah, I think he was a little grumpy at times, and that's fine. But after the match, when I was trying to take an interview, Ashwin Harsha, from the steps he threw 2-3 bottles of water. It fell in front of me and flew past me. So he's up to all this kind of fun as well. So on the
Was
ground,
aiming them
probably.
at you?
I think so, for sure. He's very capable.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's where we are now. What we know for certain is it's going to be a 3-day test match. I don't think this pitch is nasty. It's difficult, but I don't think it's nasty. But we're going to get a 3-day test match. What lies ahead? Time to go fast forward. 143. The smallest total defended at 1K day is 107. That was your test match, that debut test. But there was no pitch that day, no? Was there a pitch that day?
There was a pitch that Murli Karthik liked for once.
Correct. For once, shots fired in the...
No, because every day I've been doing the pitch report with him. He's not too happy. He feels it can be better.
107. But what do you think of 143? I mean, it's fair to say, if New Zealand had another 25, then the captain will be very grumpy. But we are looking at 150, 160. How easy, how difficult, how gettable. Look, this India bat very, very deep in this in this game, right up to number 9. How easy, how difficult? Chasing, let's say 160 as a number.
On a scale of 1 to 10, the difficulty level in this pitch, according to me, is somewhere between 6 and 7. But I feel India will get to 145, 150, whatever the target is, with 5 wickets down. That's what I feel will happen. 5 to 6 wickets down. They will come a little hard, a little aggressive. The one thing that we have seen is when they've come hard, the bowlers have not been able to control the game after that, because Ish Sodhi is naturally someone who will give you the odd boundary ball. Glenn Phillips, when put under pressure, hasn't been executing his length as well as you'd like. And we've also seen Ajaz Patel be good when the batsman is playing conventional cricket. When someone comes and takes him on, especially the left-handers, he's found it hard to bowl to the right-handers. So put everything together and you feel that India should chase it down, but it's not going to be easy. This game is all about handling pressure in that 4th innings. Can they do it when the ball is turning square past them? That's the big question. Are they capable of it? For sure. But we have seen so many collapses. Is tomorrow going to be different?
Yeah, and it's a fair call. We'll wait and see how it goes. If India do end up winning the test match, it'll be a shot in the arm. Make no mistake, a little shot in the arm. Even though you've lost the series with the WTC ahead of the tour to Australia, I think India's ideal script would be to have significant or crucial contributions from their 2 big stars, because I think their form is essential when India go to Australia. So I think India's wish list will be get it 3-4 down at most, but see a contribution from Rohit Sharma, see a contribution from Virat Kohli. I think that is what will please India the most. But yeah, I mean, 140, 160, you expect India to chase 144 in Bangladesh, found themselves 70 for 7, and then eventually got there. Out of those 70, Akshay Patel had made 35-40. So it's not going to be easy. What the numbers are telling us is that the highest India has ever chased to win a test match at the 1K day is 51 for 2.
But I'm not at all worried about that test match, because that was a different Zamana ka test match. But someone made debut in a very different field in that test match. That is very important. Harsha, now you can take off, please.
So we talked about DK's debut in 2004 when India defended 107 and 1. That test match, 51 for 2 against England, against the England team that came here in 1984, was my first test match. Was that a reaction? What I just said. my first test match, November. It's getting to 40 years.
I don't know why you feel in any way, shape, or form that 40 years is surprising. It's normal, Asha. You are at your peak at that stage, I'm telling you.
No, but can you imagine Sunil Gavaskar was playing? He was captain of that side. Since then, I've been working with him for so many years. And Sivaramakrishna took 12 wickets in that game. My PGP chairman at IIM Ahmedabad allowed me to miss my exams to be able to do one test match. You know, we would meet every morning. I would take a bus from my uncle's house to go to the Doordarshan studio. From there, we would get into one tempo. Me, producer, cameraman, driver. And every day the producer would say, one cameraman I have, okay. One commentator I have, okay. Director I have, okay. We can at least start the telecast. And then we used to sit in between the crowd. Literally, can you imagine? We used to sit in the first row of that old Garware clubhouse. I don't know if you remember, before the stadium turned around in 2011 for the World Cup final, we used to sit on the front row of that Garware clubhouse and do commentary from there. So if you didn't do well, someone tapped you on the shoulder and said, "What are you up to?" The one thing I would like more than anything else in life is never to see a single minute of that test match with my commentary on it. But there you are. So you gave this game, this pitch, 6 or 7 on difficulty. How difficult on that same scale is chasing 160?
We have to talk about bowling attacks as well. With that bowling attack, I would say 5.
5.
Doable.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you have to believe that if you're chasing 150, 160, you have to believe you start as favorites if you've got batting all the way down to number 9. Now, do bear in mind, India have never lost a series, 0-3 at home. India have never had a clean sweep at home. I think that the key will be on how India approach it. If India are worried, then I think India will struggle a little bit. If India are not worried, then I think India have got a better chance. I think it will be won or lost in the mind. And there are some very strong minds out there. So we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow. But what I will tell you is that this Cricbuzz Chatter, this edition, will get over tomorrow. But I've got to let Dinesh Karthik go because he's looking a little fidgety. And I want to let him go because the earlier he goes, the quicker he comes home for dinner.
I'm looking forward to that, Harsha. And I'll let everybody know on tomorrow's show how A, the quality of food was. B, the hospitality. C, this beautiful background. There's plenty to do this evening, I feel.
When my wife and I were discussing, I said, whatever happens, we must have enough non-veg food for Dinesh Karthik. So there is enough of that. We will talk to you about all that and more. Hopefully, we'll be talking about the 2-1 series score when we chat tomorrow evening.